Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how's it going? We even got the Golly guy in there now. We replaced a former quarterback no longer on the roster in the video there. We got Golly guy. So impressive in his post-game appearance. He now makes it on the intro show, at least for the time being. And even had a Jay Tust mention there. We're really taking this thing to the next level here. Jay, how's it going, man?
It's good, bud. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. You stole my I always say happy Friday, happy Tuesday, and then you put it up there for the 6-minute video that I hope folks go watch of the milk can from Fresno. So.
Oh, yeah. I had a little extra time this week since there is no game. So
yep.
Put a little extra spice on that thing, and hopefully that everybody goes and enjoys that. We shot it a little
6 minutes, 32 seconds, I believe.
6 minutes, 32
go back
seconds.
and you just tweeted it out. I assume it's on the KTVB YouTube channel there. But, yeah, we've talked football for 4 days here, and there's no game that's coming up tomorrow. So I thought today would be a good day to give the Boise State men's basketball team and college basketball in general a little love. We'll get back to the hard-hitting football analysis next week, Jay, but I'm not sure what else could be said here in the 30 minutes today that hasn't already been said by you on Tuesday or Johnny or Prater or Winston. So figured it was a good time to do a little basketball talk. And here in about 11 minutes, Coach Leon Rice is going to join us himself. So we'll talk basketball for a little bit. Coach Rice will join us. We'll get a little update on practice. They're about a week away from a secret scrimmage against Oregon. I'm not sure what he's allowed to say about that, but Oregon's a top 10 team probably in your rankings, Jay. And by the way, I'm so happy to hand that off to you, man. I it's pretty cool. I'm not going to demean it or anything. It's a big deal to be an AP top 25 voter, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I was able to put it on the resume for 7-8 years. I was able to use it as an excuse on a Tuesday night to watch, Ohio State, Purdue or something in basketball to tell my wife I was working on the top 25 and needed to watch the game. I'm so happy now that you've taken over the AP ballot for Idaho. You can deal with Coach Rice texting you when they're 7-0, asking why we're not ranked yet. But
I didn't get any of those last year, and last year would have been the year that would have happened probably.
Yeah, maybe so at some point. Yeah. When he used to do his little weekly radio show, him and Bob would publicly put me on blast if I didn't vote for him. So good luck with all that. But and I know you're currently working on your top 25, your All-American team and all that. Do you have any Mountain West teams in the top 25 for basketball?
Yeah, definitely San Diego State. They're right at 20 for me, and I think they're going to be right there for a lot of the voters. I would be shocked if San Diego State's not a preseason top 25 team.
Man, I was looking before you get to Wyoming. I was looking. When was it due? I guess it was due Monday, or it was due recently. The All Mountain West preseason predicted order of finish, and I was doing some research and reminding myself on some of the transfers and additions and subtractions from some of the teams. And yeah, man, you look at San Diego State, man. The veteran, all the guys they have that are returning with Bradley and Mensah and even like Sanko and some of those guys and Johnson. And then you add in some of those guys they added. I mean, and guys that were sitting out last year in particular. San Diego State's going to be pretty scary good.
Yeah, well, they also added a transfer that can really score. That was kind of their problem. That was their problem last year. Is they just couldn't get any easy buckets. And for whatever reason, Matt Bradley, I feel like he made it tough on himself sometimes. Like he was so good at getting to the free throw line. And I feel like he settled for a lot of fadeaway, like baseline jumpers, like when it mattered. So, yeah, I think that they're going to be a really, really good squad, and they're I would be surprised if they're not the preseason favorite in the Mountain West.
And Boise State does go to San Diego first, and then one of the later games of the season, San Diego State will come to Boise. That should be an exciting one. It's a Friday night game to San Diego, I believe, early February, and then late February. They come back to Boise. But I know there's a couple other Mountain West teams, and I know it was tough news for Colorado State losing Isaiah Stevens. I had actually voted him first team. And so he'll probably come out as a first or second team player, and yet he's out for a couple of months here with an injury. But big blow for Colorado State. They lose Stevens. They had already lost Kendall Moore, who had started 114 games for him, and then they lost, obviously, David Roddy as well. So I know Mark Ziegler had reached out to me the other day when he was putting his ballot together, like, where do you rank in these teams? And I think Colorado State would have been in that 3, 4, 5 mix. That's obviously a big, tough blow for them, but I think New Mexico is going to be improved. UNLV is going to be improved, but obviously with EK and Maldonado coming back, Wyoming is going to be a heck of a team as well.
Yeah, they're going to be good. I barely left them outside of my top 25, but they're a team that's going to probably position themselves to jump in that thing early in the season if they can get a couple of victories early in the season. They're very long. They're very good. They're experienced. They're tough. Maldonado has a ton of games under his belt. EK, we can see what he can do. I mean, he can get people in foul trouble, especially when they play those games in Laramie where the whistles blow frequently for him. But I think that the way this is also kind of shaken out, BJ, Boise State's going to be very long, very tall as well. The biggest team they've had in years. So you're going to be looking at some fierce battles between Boise State, Wyoming, San Diego State, kind of the normal road trips that are always tough. And, Colorado State's going to be tough. As you mentioned, UNLV, New Mexico, you feel like they're going to be improved. Waiting for them to kind of break through and resemble their programs of yesteryear when they were really good. But I have every reason to believe that Boise State's going to be right in the thick of this thing once again.
Well, I do want to talk Broncos, but because we have Coach Rice coming on, which condenses my time, I do need to tell you about a couple of our sponsors real quick before we move on. But United Commercial Insurance, check them out, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. So if you're running your business or looking to improve your business insurance, find a better rate, quick call could save you hundreds of dollars. United Commercial Insurance makes business insurance easy. Boise Dentistry Co. as well, locations across the Treasure Valley. You can check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Full family dentistry. So if you're looking for a new dentist, don't go no further than Dr. Miner, a big sports fan, big local supporter of the sports scene in the community here. So check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com. 13 locations across the state of Idaho. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. So when you think about heading to the grocery store, think local, shop Ridley's.com. The Blue and Orange Store as well, theblueandorangestore.com. If you're looking to get some new Boise State gear, go no further. They got all the new Nike apparel, the coaches sideline apparel, the NIL shirts, all that cool stuff. Check them out, the Blue and Orange Store there at the Boise Town Square Mall, right next to Pro Image on the second floor. Or if you're not in Boise, you get free shipping on any order over $40. Just make sure you check out the Blue and Orange Store.com. We got about 5 minutes or so before Coach Rice joins us. We've watched a couple practices here, Jay. We've been out. We watched one in the summer where they played against the TBT team. We've had a couple other small practices, and you are muted, by the way, Jay. But what do you make of this team? You mentioned them being long. I think everybody's excited about Degenhart and Shaver, but you kind of know what you're getting there. I mean, I think the success of this team is going to come down to what you get from Ogbo, what you get from Sada. Really, those are two high-level guys. I know they feel pretty good about Mo Silla, coming in from Detroit Mercy. Him and Lucas Milner, I think, are going to kind of split time and kind of together hope to give you, the production that you need at center when you lose a guy like Armouche. But for me, it's what do you get from Silla, or what do you get from, Nganga, and what do you get from, the other newcomers, in particular, Chibuzo Ogbo? Because if those two guys can come close to getting what you got, when you lose an Abu Kijab and Emmanuel Akot, this team could be right back there in the mix again.
Yeah, it's funny because when Chibuzo Agbo kind of got on campus and everybody was like, man, this guy could be another Abu Kijab, maybe even a little bit better. And I almost took offense to that because I was like, hold up here, man. Not only was Abu good, that guy was tough as nails. His teammates loved him. He had all these crazy intangibles. It really took a while for us to be able to like see and for them to reveal themselves, right? And only like the fiercest battles actually bring those out and put those on display. So I was like, let's pump the brakes here. But you see him in practice, man, that guy's got some get off the bus factor. He can really, really shoot it. He's got awesome character, just like Abu. Like, I think the fans are going to absolutely love him. And so he's a guy that is like, Bronco Nation should be wildly excited about watching him play basketball this year.
And he's in a very similar spot as Abu. It was a Power 5 conference, didn't get a lot of playing time, looking for a bigger role, looking to come over. And unlike Abu, who had to sit out the year due to the transfer, that's the one thing where they had the extra seasoning in Leon's system. You do have him coming in right away, though, and obviously wants to do some things. And, I'm very intrigued by him because he is basically your Abu Kijab replacement. And like you said, the talent looks to be there, but some of the things Abu did in terms of the leadership and off the court, that's where you're going to have to make up what you lose from Abu. But I mean, another guy is Sada Nganga, man. He comes in with so much expectation, so much hype, probably too much. It's probably unfair what everybody's expecting out of this guy. But I mean, let's face it, this dude was at one time a top 20 player in the class, had Kentucky and John Calipari coming to his games. Like, I mean, he was highly ranked for a reason, had the knee injury. Some schools kind of got scared away. He's still, just finally getting back to where he's a year removed from the injury and getting back to himself. But he's another guy with the get off the bus factor. You see him, he looks like he could be your starting center, and he's out there jacking up threes and, driving to the lane. I think he's another very key player. I voted him as the Mountain West Freshman of the Year. And that may be a little too high expectations for him. I think San Diego State's going to have some guys, but I wonder how much those guys are going to play. I think they're going to throw Sada into the fire here. They really don't have a choice, and see what you get. What are your thoughts on Sada?
Yeah. Oh, real quick, I wanted to add one more thing about Buzo before we move on. I reached out to Adonis Arms, who was a former NNU player that eventually wound up playing at Texas Tech, played a ton of minutes for them on a really, really good NCAA tournament team. But I asked him about Buzo, and he said he's one of the hardest working guys he's ever met. Great kid, loves to play the game. His one dribble pull-up is very nice. So he had a glowing review from a lot of those people back at Texas Tech. But as it pertains to Sada now, like you mentioned his knee injury, and he's finally getting back. And it's not only getting healthy, BJ, it's getting like that explosiveness back in his game, right? And I don't know, like we haven't seen that necessarily yet just because we don't know what his ceiling is. But I will say this, for a guy his size – dude can jump, man. Like he can get up. So if it all comes together for him and he can play significant minutes and really contribute on this team, he might be the linchpin in this thing. Like, I don't think he's necessarily going to be Boise State's like top scorer or best player in those regards this year, but he could be the linchpin in the middle, of this lineup that really holds it all together and makes it great. And I mean, we talk about Marcus Shaver too, real quick before Leon jumps on here. I am really excited to see what he can do this year. He is a very, very important player, though, because I don't know if they have anybody else like him that can really spell him for long periods of time. So it'll be important for him to play well, stay healthy, and be available on the court for this Boise State men's basketball team. Hey,
thanks again to Matt Bauscher for sponsoring Bronco Nation News here. Check him out, Bauscher Real Estate, the #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. You can check him out, BauscherRealEstate.com for all of your realty needs, and we appreciate Matt Bauscher. The Matt Bauscher Show will be returning here shortly to Bronco Nation News, so make sure you check that out here in the near future. And as promised, Jay, we're really excited to bring in the head coach of the men's basketball team over at Boise State, Mr. Leon Rice. Coach, appreciate you joining us here on Bronco Nation News. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you guys doing, Jay? I'm sorry about your Mariners. 2 tough losses. It looked like they should have won the first one.
Hold up here. My Mariners? They're not your Mariners too? You're already off the bandwagon, Leon?
They're not as much my Mariners as they are Mike Burns, so I always like to go against him. But because, little known trivia about Mike, he was a bat boy for the Mariners, and you should get him on here in the next few days since they're still playing. And you better do it quickly.
When they win the series, when they come back and win the series, or maybe Monday before Game 5. Yeah, we'll make that happen.
his stories are remarkable. Like, I think he walked Joe DiMaggio out to the mound throughout the first pitch. I mean, it's a Forrest Gump-esque story that he has, and it's one after another. I sometimes I think he's making them up because they're so crazy, and so you should get him on. People would be entertained by those.
Now, we had Gordy Presnell on earlier this week, and he mentioned that he's thrown out the first pitch twice at a Mariners game. Have you ever done anything like that?
Not in the bigs, but Coach Few threw out one against the Yankees, and he said, it was all fun and games, but he goes, that's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. He goes, coaching in the national championship game was easier. You're less nervous than actually getting on the bump, and you don't have a glove on. He didn't have a glove on. He said that was the hardest thing because he was a baseball player.
Yeah.
And you go up there and throw that
throws off your balance a little bit or something.
Yes, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'd be one of the guys that would go all the way to the top of the mound too. Some just go in the grass like 20 feet away and toss it. I think Coach would go all the way to the top and try to fire it in there.
No doubt. Yeah, he thinks he's better than he is. That's
But by the way, Leon, when Burns tells like his top stories, he always tells saving you out of the Boise River, walking across it, and then walking Joe DiMaggio to the mound.
Yeah, right, in that order, for sure.
Yeah, in that order.
You would be thoroughly entertained. I mean, he was there at the 79 All-Star game. He's got, and it's all the historic figures of baseball back through the 70s and 80s. And it doesn't just end in baseball. I mean, he's got a Pele story that blows your mind, and it's great. It's entertaining.
Well, we could talk baseball and Mike Burns for 15 minutes if we want to, but we do want to talk a little bit of basketball here, Coach. You guys are about a week away from the secret scrimmage. I'm not sure what you can say about that. I don't know if the scrimmage itself is secret or what happens in the scrimmage, but you guys do have some competition here about a week away, some big-time competition. So how are things going as you kind of gear up here and inch closer to the season starting?
Well, we're not ready. It's excuse me, it's early October. Sometimes I have to look at the calendar because you get a little panic to you about, oh my gosh, we have so much to do and so much to get better at. And we're going to go to Oregon. I believe you can kind of talk about it, but
yeah, you just can't say what happened, right?
Yeah. And it's just, you're not supposed to release stuff afterwards, I guess. But we're going to go there. We were going to originally go there and then have Washington State here. Excuse me. And we ended up getting Washington State on the schedule, so we had to adjust that. But that's going to be a great scrimmage for us. They went on a foreign trip, and they played 4 games. So, excuse me. So I think they're going to be a little ahead of us in a lot of things. Just getting with the referees and getting some experience in game situations really, really advances. You get to a point of diminishing returns with practice. You need some game-like experiences.
Yeah, I mean, Leon, what is the value in this for your team? Because you, I guess, go out on the road. You play a team that's probably going to be an AP top 25 team that's already had some experience. I mean, some of your boys are tested, but this will just be different, and it doesn't really count. I mean, it counts for you and how you'll use knowledge out of this thing, but what is the true value of these preseason scrimmages like this for you?
They're the absolute best. You get way more out of those than you do anything else, because you can control it. Sometimes, we've done some things with Utah where we, when Larry was the coach there, I'm sorry.
Got to get you some water, Coach.
I know. Yeah, where are these guys with the water? It's
You got a new director of ops this year, already dropping the ball.
Yeah, Red would have had water, right? No doubt.
I love the standard that you hold your guys to over there, right? Always got to be on. Always got to be on point.
No doubt.
Well, we know Leon didn't set up this computer himself, so
how do you know that? How do you know that? You're right, but how do you know that? That's So anyways, those scrimmages have been so valuable. Like I said, with Larry Krystoliak, we did a 20-play offensive half-court set before we scrimmaged. And so it was really great for working on execution. And then, with Tad, I've done different things, a zone segment. So you can control it any way you want it. You can play it as a real game, a full game. We've done all kinds of different things, and it gives everyone a chance to play. They're just so valuable because you're not so caught up on the outcome that you can test some things and try different things, and you just learn so much about your team, especially when you play a good team like we're going to play.
Is this one of those things, Leon, where you turn the boys loose and see what they can do? I mean, how involved are you as a coach? Like, how close is it running plays and stuff to what you'll see, when you host Washington State over at, in downtown Boise coming up in November?
Well, the great thing about it is you can try all kinds of things and because it doesn't get out publicly. So you can try things.
It's not supposed to.
Right. Yeah, it's not supposed to. But, that's why you play people you trust. Like, I think Dana trusts us. We trust him, and we'll keep it. You don't hear us ever talk about our scrimmages and because, there's confidentiality that you want with people. And so it gives you the freedom to explore and maybe some new things that each team's going to play a little differently. So you can try some of the things that you've been doing that are a little different.
How's Sada coming along? He's the guy we keep getting asked about the most, just because of the star rankings and the the offers he had. And I mean, it's just hard to deny kind of the hype, I guess, he's got coming around. I mean, is he a starter from day one here, or how's he looking?
It's hard because you got to remember his situation. That's what, I tell my staff, I tell my players. I mean, think about it. English is his fifth language. I mean, this kid's smart. English is his fifth language. Boise State basketball is his sixth language. So we're trying to teach him all this stuff, and we're using words. And I swear he probably, to process all that stuff that he has to process, it's really, really tough. I mean, Tyson came here from Spokane, known our program, known us, and it took him probably till December to really start clicking. So now you're taking a kid who came from Angola and you're throwing him into a system that he doesn't know. He's in college basketball for the first time, and you're asking him to just learn and understand everything, that you're talking about. And the players are trying to help him. The coaches are trying to help him. I think it's a little bit of an overload of information. So, we want to try to keep it simple for him, but we got to make, he's got to make big advances as far as getting to know our system. And so it's hard. It's really hard for him. And he comes in so willing to learn every day. But I told our guys, okay, let me take one of you guys and put you in Africa, and we're going to teach you soccer, and we're going to yell at you in a language you don't understand. And no chance, absolutely no chance. So we have to do a great job teaching and demonstrating a little bit more. And I told the guys too, is like, if there's something important that you need to teach him, you have to show him. You can't just say it. And, so we got to slow down in some of those aspects. And that's hard because he's a talented player and he's a really good player. But getting him up to speed in a system in college basketball takes time. And like I said, Tyson, who's been around it all his life, is a great learner. He wasn't in our rotation until late November. And then, what happened after that. So we just got to be patient, and that's a little bit hard because of the schedule that we have, and we want to get off to a good start. We play South Dakota State right out of the gate, 30-5 team is, I would compare them to a Loyola Chicago kind of situation. They're that good. And so we got to get guys up to speed quickly. So we're kind of caught in between those, but as a head coach, I got to have patience with him and understand and some empathy to what he's going through.
Leon, I think the thing that, really helped define your team last year, outside of a whole lot of wins and an NCAA tournament appearance, you guys had some crazy good intangibles. And, you affectionately turned some of those games, those close games, you labeled them a brick fight, which it seems like your players embraced. It seems like the fans embraced. But really, you brought these games down to a couple of possessions, and you guys routinely won those last few possessions. So the talent appears to be there. The size appears to be there. How do you develop those intangibles that will help you win those brick fights, those games that come down to 2, 3, 4 possessions?
Well, we're lighting up the scoreboard pretty good so far right now. That's one of the strengths right now that I've seen in this team. We score a lot easier than we did last year. The ball moves great. But I we had a scrimmage the other day, scored a lot of points in it, and I brought him in. I said, "Look, that's a great quality for a team to have, but that's not why we won the league last year, and that's not going to be who wins the league this year is the coolest offensive team. It's not going to do it. That's just the facts. The toughest, grittiest team is going to win the league, and that's what we have to keep developing with this team. It's a great thing to be able to score a little easier than we did. I like offense. I mean, it took me some therapy and some lots of time to think about and get comfortable with winning a game 42-37 or whatever. That's interesting, especially because all our lives I've been we've had some good offensive teams, and coming from where I came from, that was what we did. And so, but the defense and the grittiness and the toughness wins championships. I mean, we're 11th in the country in defensive rebounding percentage. I mean, we didn't let you get second shots. We've always been that way. We've been in the top 50 every single year that I've been here in defensive rebounding. And so we have to make a jump there because we lost Mladen, maybe the best rebounding center in the country or one of them. And you could hang your hat on him every night. The guards were big. Abu was a great rebounder. So I don't know if anyone stepped up as a great rebounder yet. I think we have some good rebounders, but that's an area of concern for me right now.
I wanted to ask you about the big, the center's position and kind of the trade-off of losing, obviously, Armouche and kind of hoping to combine his production maybe with what you're getting from Lucas and Mo, obviously, coming in. How do you think that's coming? I mean, we saw flashes from Lucas last year, obviously, at times. The Air Force game comes to mind at Air Force. You had some other key moments, a couple big blocks in the tournament against Mensa. Is that kind of what you're looking at, those two combined, the 10 fouls, the 40 minutes between them can hopefully give you enough combined production there at center, regardless of kind of who starts or who plays more?
Absolutely. And you need extra bodies, and you need, because they run a lot. They have to bang around a lot with 250 pounders, and it puts a lot of stress on them over the course of a year. So yeah, we do need somewhat of a committee. I'm really pleased with the progress Lucas has made. He's become a really good player, and that he has to now go out and prove it night in, night out. But I've seen some things at practice where he has made a big jump. Mo is in kind of Sada's boat as far as adjusting to our system and learning it. But I've seen growth there too. So, sometimes you go through a little cycle with new guys of they come out of the gate really good, and then they hit a little bit of a lull because, when you're putting in stuff, all of a sudden they have to think a little bit or they're processing things and it slows them down a little bit. So I think there's a little bit of a curve there where they take a dip and then at some point they're going to make a big jump.
I was going to say, when you had us out to practice, whatever it was a couple weeks ago, man, everybody was excited to see some of these new guys. I thought Lucas looked fantastic in that practice. He obviously knows what Mladen brought to the table. As you try to demonstrate that to Mo, I mean, do you show clips of Mladen waking up, getting out of the bed last year with one intent, and that was kicking your butt on the glass?
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm careful about that. I don't want it's the big brother, little brother thing. Why can't you be more like your big brother?
What do you know about that with three boys?
I know nothing. But that you're right that there's so many things that Mladen, and then you didn't take it for granted, but maybe the fans did a little bit because he didn't put up huge numbers as far as scoring. But think about what he did at Utah State. I think it was 20 points and 19 rebounds or something like that, and he actually tipped out a ball that he didn't get credit for, and so it was really a 20-20 game. And that's remarkable. There's nobody in the country that does that, or very, very, very few. But that was such a great thing and then, every night going into the game going, well, their center's not going to get an offensive rebound tonight. That's a powerful thing. And he never did. And he did his job over and over again, and so reliable. And so, that's where we got to get those guys up to. And that does take time. And, but they are talented. They are big. And they are athletic. They do have some things that Mladen wasn't able to do. I mean, Lucas has a great touch around the basket. Went 6 for 6 from the free throw line in our last scrimmage. So that's always good. But, they are different players in a little bit, but there are certain non-negotiables of the program, and one of them is rebounding.
The funny part about that game for me, Coach, was going back and listening to the Utah State radio announcer as Mladen just kept scoring, kept rebounding, and kept dominating. And the guy just got sadder and sadder as the game went on. And he's just like, oh, this Armouche guy's killing us. And it was pretty funny to hear the opposite side of it in that game. But the final thing for me, Coach, we haven't touched on Tyson and obviously Marcus. And those are two guys that are obviously going to have to just have, career years for you this year as well and just continue their development. But you get Marcus back. Tyson, we were talking to the other day, and it's hard to believe he's still a sophomore that's been on campus for 15 months or whatever it's been. Right. I mean, he seems like a fifth-year senior at this point. Just those two guys and the leadership and the development you've seen from them, how big are they going to have to be for you this year?
They've been amazing. They've been great leaders in their own way. They're not the, especially Marcus, he's not the leader you would expect, like a big vocal, like Abu was really, really vocal, but he's doing a good job of it in his own way. And then they kind of do it with shared leadership. He's a real vocal leader. Max has been through the grind, and he's a scrapper, and he kind of shows them the gritty, tough way. Tyson's a little more vocal than those, in between those guys, and really connects with his teammates that way and tries to help them, and because he knows the answers. And so it's been shared leadership, and it's been great. But we will miss that's probably one of the biggest things you miss about Abu was his just pure energy that he'd bring every single day. And at the start of his career here, it was a little crazy, but he really figured it out, and that's that would be missed by him. But those guys are doing a great job of kind of doing it together, and we've been working on it pretty hard. And I just, this team is great to coach. They're so fun to show it. They work. I don't know. I mean, we maybe had a bad 30 minutes, but we haven't had a bad practice yet. And so the chemistry is great. The togetherness is great. And, like I talked about going through a valley of death. Well, when we go through it, the good thing that I know we can hang our hat on is they'll be together. They'll fight for each other, and they'll fight for the program and the name on the front, because we got some high character guys from top to bottom. So that's been neat. And what do you mean we're almost there? We're just getting started. I got about 20 more Burn stories.
We can go as long as you got. I was instructed 15 minutes from your SID. So
he's kind of a rookie. He's no Mike Walsh, Joe Nickel.
I don't know if Jay had one more for you, but I did want to ask you. We saw the WWE's coming to meet with your athletes, and Najee Smith was a guy I saw his name thrown out. I saw Max's name thrown out. Do you have a future WWE superstar on your roster?
Well, I think Godzilla would be that could be his theme. He's really bought into that nickname. I don't even know where it came from. I think it was somebody on Twitter. Congratulations. So we made a whole video for him, and he just loved it. He celebrated it. Of Mozilla smashing through the buildings in downtown Boise. And so
that's got to be a cool way for him to feel like he's being embraced in a new city. Hey, Leon, I wanted to get your take real quick before we wrap this thing up here on Mountain West this year. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where
football or basketball.
Oh, well,
we did have somebody on here asking you.
Figured out.
We did have somebody asking what you thought of Taylor Green on here. There was a question about that, but
well, let's get to that in a second.
What was the question? You didn't ask me any questions that were on the people.
We had a list here, and we were trying to be respectful of your time here, Coach. So
we're good. I got a few more.
All right, go ahead, Jay.
No, Mountain West basketball. I want to talk about this. I mean, we've been looking at preseason polls and predicted order of finishes and all this stuff. And man, the Mountain West is tipping off this year with a ton of momentum. This league is going to be really tough once again. And I mean, you guys have proven that year in and year out, you're going to be right in the thick of it. So As you look at the Mountain West this year, what stands out to you about how the league has evolved, how it's got back to being a conference of strength, and how do you compete in this thing?
Yeah, it is. You're right. There's some really good teams. I was so sorry to hear about Stevens at Colorado State. He's one of the best point guards in the league. I guess he went down with a foot injury. I don't know all the details, and he's going to have surgery. But that really hurts our league because they were a team that could probably go gather up a lot of preseason wins. Not saying they can't. I'm not saying that, but I know the impact it has when, like if we were to, I don't even want to say those words of to lose somebody like that, that it just, there's guys that have been in your system for a long time, the guys that have proven it, they're so valuable to have. So, yeah, I feel bad for first of all, for the player and for the program. And then it affects our league because, the numbers, they'll still be a great team and but they were on the verge of being really good, So, and like I said, doesn't mean they can't because they'll fill it in and those guys are great coaches. But when you lose a player like that, it does impact you. And so that was a tough blow for the league and for Colorado State. But San Diego State, boy, they think they're really, really, I've talked to Dutch about it. He loves his team. They got everybody back mostly from last year and have added some more size. So they're going to be big, athletic. They're going to Maui right away, and they're going to be tested against some of the best. And so, we're hoping that they can get some good wins for the league in that because they got some great opportunities. Leonard thinks he's got a great team, and he does. He's got, two of the best players in the league coming back. He had, some good guys coming in around them. So that they're going to be really, really tough. Coach Kruger brought in a ton of new guys and, on and on. Everyone, did a great job in the offseason. I'd have to say New Mexico, watch out for them. They've got two of the most talented guards in the league, added some strength to what their weaknesses were last year. And Coach Pitino's really excited about that group. So there's a lot, like I could continue. There's a lot. Everyone is pretty optimistic about their teams right now. And I think this year is going to be so competitive.
Well, final thing. First, Rudy says, by the way, I started it, Coach. He wants credit for the Mozilla.
Oh, good job, Rudy. Yes.
Rudy says that was him.
You should have trademarked it.
So we got 3 fan questions, and you can pick which one you want to enter for the You can pick you can just pick which one you want for the final word here. I'll just pick the 3 best. Somebody wanted to ask about the chemistry. I may have moved past it too far here. The chemistry of the team last year was obviously big. How impressive is that going to be this year's team, and how's the chemistry looking? Rudy wanted to know if you can get Tyson to wear the cornrows again for a home game this season. And then there was the question about Talon Green and what you thought of him so far. We'll give you your Sadie Hawkins here. Which one you want to finish it off?
Sadie Hawkins. Well, I'll do all of them. Chemistry's amazing. And, we haven't hit a lot of adversity yet, so that always tests your chemistry. So, but they do get along and they enjoy being together and they're fun to coach and they're hard workers. And so, I mean, maybe the best I've seen. So that's a real positive. What was the middle one?
About the cornrows for
cornrows. I was always a fan of that. Can you imagine next year when we have him and Andrew together? And that will be the greatest. That we're going to have Slapshot night. And for all you guys that, all you young people that haven't watched Slapshot, one of the greatest sports movies ever made. I guess there's some cussing and stuff in there.
I was going to say, yeah.
And a few worse things probably, but that's the old, what was it? The WHL that I used to go to those Spokane Chiefs games and
there you go.
Snapshot. So,
and Talon Green.
I've been just those were, these were some of the greatest wins in the history of the school, that second half against San Diego State. And, just to overcome what they overcame and to flip the season like the way they did. And it's, like I always say to our guys, winning is great, but nothing beats overcoming adversity. And that's what they've done. They've faced adversity, stared it down, and now they're, back to being Boise State where they wanted to be and where they knew they'd be. And, Talon's obviously a huge, huge part of it. but credit to their staff, credit to their players, all that, that we foreshadowed this when we talked about the Valley of Death with you guys earlier, and they're fighting through it. And it doesn't mean the fight's over once you start playing good again, because we went through that, and then it's about the belief, and it helps you get better, and you just keep growing. And I guarantee this bye came at a great time for them to continue this growth. And but it's been awesome to watch that. And I actually talked to Coach Pete the other day, and I said, no offense, but that was the greatest win in school history, that San Diego State game. So I said, your games had no drama except for that old Oklahoma thing. You won them all by 40, and Kellen threw for 500 yards, and people would walk out like, well, that was kind of good. No, yeah, it was. So this recalibrated our fans, got them interested in the drama, and I think it that's what sports is. That's what makes sports so great.
Well, we appreciate your time. Coach Carson says you staying on was awesome. And by the way, Rudy wants to start another one. Sam the Animal Winters.
Oh, I love it.
Sam the Animal. Maybe we can work on that one and keep that going as well. But
I'm going to break that out for him today.
There you go. Well, best of luck, staying healthy and everything moving forward as the season gets closer. Look forward to catching up with you. And yeah, the exhibition is what, November 1st, right? Yeah, it's coming up here in a couple of weeks out there at Extra Mile Arena. Season ticket sales are going well, so excitement's high, and look forward to seeing you guys out there on the court here soon.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
Good luck Saturday, Jay.
Gonna need it.
We're playing Oklahoma, KU Oklahoma football on Saturday too.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a reason to watch KU football anymore. Yeah. Thanks, Coach. Take care.
All right, see you guys.
There he is, Leon Rice, joining us here, and we appreciate his time. Jay, you never know when you bring Coach Rice on what you're going to talk about. So we started it with Mike Burns talk, and we finished it talking about Taylon Green. So we appreciate Coach coming on.
Yeah, he's always entertaining, always fun. And always just a little bit unpredictable to the point that it's very entertaining.
Yeah, well, Jay, appreciate your time and staying on a few extra minutes there to talk to Coach. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Watch Jay on the Sportscast this weekend. Give him some support for the Mariners here as well. And you were much kinder, by the way. You hadn't been having a couple beverages like I had when the Cardinals blew their lead, but I was much more frustrated after the Cardinals blew their lead than it appeared that you were taking it pretty well, at least publicly it appeared. But you got to win 3. You got to win 3. You're going home for 2. You're going to get Castillo on 3 days rest in Game 5, maybe to shove again. There's still hope, Jay. Keep the faith, man.
I'll do it.
Refuse to lose. So appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back Monday morning with John Mallory. So enjoy the weekend. Boise State cannot lose this weekend. So relax, enjoy it, and have a good time. And we'll talk to you Monday morning. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.